Hi everyone, this is Ingrid and welcome to my WinterBookLand. So, we're actually gonna do a tag in this video, but not what you would expect. So basically I think actually this is a really bad idea, but I'm gonna do it because I really want to talk about these things. So basically I'm creating a tag, which is not the cleverest idea. But I want to try it, and like, if other people want to do it or don't want to do it, like, it's okay. I think BookTube currently has like a drought of tags. Like, everyone is just searching for tags to do and stuff like that. Like, I want to do other tags as well. There are a lot of tags that I think sound really interesting, but like, I have gone around like at work and stuff thinking about doing this particular tag that I created myself. So I just want to do it. And basically I'm calling this the praise book tag because personally I feel like there's a lot of negative book tags, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I understand that people want to be critical of books, and I love that you express your opinion in such a way, but I feel like it creates such a negative mood for books when I go to read them. So basically I just want to create a tag that is a bit more positive and actually encourages people to read other books. So basically the praise tag bases itself in praising authors for doing things well and good and stuff like that. If there is a tag that is like this or has some similar themes, please tell me and I can possibly do those tags as well. I'm actually like looking up right now and it doesn't seem like there's like any tag like this, but like, tell me. And I will put the questions down in the description so you can possibly do the tag yourself, and yeah, let's just get into it. Be aware though that this tag may include some spoilers for these books that are mentioned. So like, if you plan to do this tag, try to place the books in the description and say like which books may be spoilery and stuff like that. So the first book I want you to pick out is a book that has a character arc that was done wonderfully. And here I'm gonna cheat a bit on my own tag. I know it's scandalous, but I want to talk about a character arc that isn't done yet, but I feel like is so masterfully done while still in progress, and that is Caledon from the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson. And now Caledon is a very like complicated character. He has a lot of honor, basically. That's the point of his character. He has a lot of honor. This kind of plot point in the series that you say this kind of oaths, and these oaths are based on like protecting people, at least for Caledon. I found out in the first book it's much about Caledon kind of fighting his depression. I really liked his journey with depression and the way it affected him. In the second book I really loved because in the second book he kind of loses his powers and his oaths because he forgets who he is and he forgets the honor that has driven him for so long. To see such consequences for a character and see such a beautiful arc where he realizes that he just done something so incredibly wrong and is trying to right it is just really fascinating to watch, really. Basically seeing his development, and even in the third book where he can't say the fourth oath. And I think Brandon Sanderson did a very good job of that, of not having Caledon managing to say the fourth oath, and basically having him be this character that is kind of hypocritical and stuff like that. And the thing is about Caledon is that his story arc makes you want him to win. You want him to have the best in life. And I think Brandon Sanderson managed to do that very well. The second point on this tag is that I want you to find the most beautiful quote that you know of in the book. Here for me it's going to be a quote from Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. Okay, so if you don't know, that purple tags I use in my annotating are for like wonderful quotes, and like I was so scared that I couldn't find it, like the quote I wanted to find, but I pulled up on the first purple tag and it's literally right there. So generally I feel like Maggie Stiefvater's book are just like filled with so much beautiful quotes, but I'm going to read it to you. There is no good word for the opposite of lonesome. One might be tempted to suggest togetherness or contentment, but the fact that these two other words bear definitions unrelated to each other perfectly displays why lonesome cannot be properly mirrored. It does not mean solitude, nor alone, nor lonely, although lonesome can contain all of those words in itself. Lonesome means a state of being apart, of being other, alone, some. I don't know why I find this quote so beautiful. The fact that Maggie took the time to write out something like that and just creating this like big like existential crisis about the word lonesome, I feel like is first of all, it's very like commendable, like good on you, Maggie, for writing something like that. But it's that kind of quote that I love and can't explain why I love. It's such a beautiful quote, I feel like. Like most quotes are like that. You find them beautiful, you don't know why. But that is my pick for the second point. The third point is a moment in the book that made you cry with the character. I don't want you to find a scene that is sad or made you cry. I want you to find a scene where you really felt for the main character and you cried because that character cried. That kind of thing. Here I'm going to go with The Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. If you read this book, you know what I'm talking about. And here it's just like massive spoilers. In the scene in Dumbledore's office after Sirius dies, I was crying my eyes out. Not because Sirius was dead, but because of Harry's reaction. Like when Dumbledore says to him that it's human to have these emotions, and Harry just shouts back, "Then I don't want to be human." I just felt that down to my soul. And you can tell that I really felt this moment because I remember that quote. And I never remember quotes like this. At any point, I can remember like plot points but not direct quotes, but in this book I can, because this scene affected me so much, and it was a moment where I just felt for Harry, and just Harry's way of handling the situation just hit me right in the feels, and I feel like J.K. Rowling did a very good job of presenting grief in such a tragic and well done manner. I'm actually wanting to read it now. And the fourth point is the cleverest plot twist you can find in a book. And in this point we're going to go with a kind of an old book that has been praised a lot for its plot twist, and that is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I was kind of like mildly spoiled about going into this book because I knew that there was going to be a plot twist because it was praised so much for it, but still it kind of caught me offhand. The setup for the plot twist and the way it was unraveled was done in a really great manner. Just E. Lockhart has this way of writing it that really made it a like plot point that went really well over and managed to surprise me in a way that didn't annoy me. So, I mean, that's good. On the fifth point, I want you to present the most wonderful piece of world building that you can find in a book. And here I mean like a moment, or the world building of the entire book really, where it was done in a manner that you really just enjoyed. And here I'm going to go with something a little bit weird, to be honest. I'm going to go with Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. And here I'm going to talk about the saying that they have in the book, which is "no mourners, no funerals." I think this is the most quoted line from the book. It is very much used everywhere, and basically I just really love this quote because you get so much from it. Basically they use this line as a good luck, because like if you die there will be no mourners and no funerals, because Caledon, the city they're in, doesn't have a place for any graveyards, so therefore your body just gets, I don't remember, thrown in a canal or shipped out to this island or something, and basically there will be no funerals for you and there will be no mourners at this funeral that doesn't exist. I think it was a really clever way to integrate world building, because like you kind of understand like the kind of mentality you get in Caledon from living in this place that has no mourners and no funerals. The way it was presented by Verdugo as well, the way she just integrated explanation of why it was this way when they said this line, I think was really great. And she managed to make a quote that was like totally awesome, which I now use as like text on my lock screen. Like many people have this as the wallpaper on their computer or the phone because it's such an awesome quote. I like found out that this was a really wonderful piece of world building when I tried to explain it to my friend, because I had no mourners, no funerals on my PC background, and my friend was like, oh, what does it mean? And I was like, oh well, shit, I'll have to explain the entire plot of the book. And now for the 6th point, I want you to find a scene that hyped you a lot. Like, I'm talking, like, cheering, like, sitting with your mouth open, just being genuinely happy that this happened. I'm going to cheer again because it's my tag and I do what I want. So let's just make it that you can pick 2 moments for this question if you want. So basically what I'm talking about is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, and in this book it's 2 months from the same book though, and that is the moment where Aelin tells Maeve that she is a god and explodes in flames. That moment had me just really fucking hype. It's just so incredible to just like had this moment where like the villain does the stereotypical like your gods can't save you now, and the heroine is like, well, too bad on you, I am a god. I think it was a really awesome moment. And one moment that kind of like snapped the air from my lungs was the moment where Manon called the witches to war, where the Crogans kind of carried this flame and like asked and cried out like, your queen is calling you to war, will you fly with her? And just the way it was described, the way it was written, I just felt chills because it was done in such an awesome manner. And I actually looked up on BookTube like read-throughs and like reading logs of this book because I want to see if other people had this exact same reaction to me at this scene. So I mean, that was fun. And then for the 7th question, I want you to find an OTP that was solved in a satisfactory way, because we know that a lot of OTPs resolve in a way that we don't like. And for this point, I'm going to go with Damon and Lawrence from Captive Prince by C.S. Picard. This OTP, I feel like their whole dynamic and history was handled in a very well done manner. You kind of get like the sense that they don't ignore the things they've done to each other, the atrocities they've done to each other, what they've done and like how they've hurt each other. They acknowledge it and they say, this happened, but we still love each other now. Getting to be kings and reuniting the kingdom and finally getting happiness after so much sorrow and pain, like, good for them. Let them be happy. But also the way they develop throughout the series and stuff like that, you really get the sense that these 2 people know how to interact and know how to handle each other and just understand each other in a way that no other people can. And I feel like Picard and this OTP really lovely. And for the 8th point, I want you to find a scene in the book that genuinely made you laugh. I probably said genuinely wrong. I'm probably saying it wrong now. I can't be bothered to care. And here we're actually going to go with a book that I've had on this list before. Do I care? No, you can do this. Let's just make that a rule. You can take books from the same series, the same goddamn book. I don't care. Good. How could this happen to me? I made my mistake. And here we're going to go with the entirety of Jessie Diddley. Every scene with Jessie Diddley is a comedic masterpiece. Jessie Diddley for president. This book was so goddamn hilarious, and it was only because of Jessie Diddley. If you need to know, he talks in all caps all the time, and he comes with these really weird comments, and he's just a really lovable character that is just equally hilarious as well. So, like, read this book, read the entire series just because of Jessie Diddley Bliss. And then for point number 9, I want you to find a book that you went into expecting to hate but ended up loving. Here we're gonna get into a bit of the drama, really. Because the book I chose for this point is ACOTAR, or A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So basically, the reason I went into this book expecting to hate it was because of a lot of the online drama around this series. Like reviews saying this book romanticized abuse and stuff like that, and just the entire drama around the 3rd book, which ended up being fake, and it was just like, guys, please. I am a strong believer in differentiating between the author and the story that they tell. So I just found this as a really entertaining and wonderful book about an unreliable narrator. I just found this to be a story about an unreliable narrator. Oh my... unreliable narrator. I can't say it. I'll put the goddamn word up on the screen, god damn it. And I'm planning to make an entire goddamn video on this. I need to watch the pronunciation on Google Translate. I'm sorry. So I ended up loving this book because of that concept. And the 10th point is an issue or some sort of representation presented in a book that helps you understand yourself better. Here we're actually gonna go with Brandon Sanderson again, because I don't fucking care. What I'm talking about here is the character of Renarin, and basically he is coded as having autism. The reason I kind of resonated with him is because of the Tumblr post I found. I'll link it down below. But basically both like autism and ADHD, which is what I have, are very closely related. So a lot of the symptoms that Renarin had I could relate to. And basically this book made me realize what little I know about my own disorder. Because when I was diagnosed with it, they just cared about diagnosing me with ADHD. And I didn't really know. Like, I didn't even know what the letters in ADHD stood for. I just knew that I had ADHD. I didn't know any of my symptoms. And I think this book, this series, the way Renarin is presented, the way it's talked about, it really helped me understand a lot of about my own disorder, really, and made me want to research more on my own disorder and the symptoms and what happens to me, basically. And yeah, it just really helped me a lot in that way. So the 11th and last point is an author you think is doing something great with the platform they've been given. I want you to pick out an author you think uses their fame and fortune to do great things. And here I want to mention Rick Riordan. If you paid attention in the last year or so, he has this kind of series called Riordan Presents, where he is giving rookie authors from different cultures a chance to write about their own culture and religion and stuff like that. And I write a children's book where they incorporate their religion. And I think that is so well, because he said, oh, I'm a kind of an expert in Greek and Egyptian and Norse mythology, but I know nothing about these other other religions and mythologies. So instead I want to lift up authors that I know how to do this, and I think it's just a really great way to bring new authors into the community. So that was the praise book tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it interesting. If you did, leave a comment discussing with me and leave a like, and maybe subscribe if you like what I have to say. And I'll see you in my next video.